I just spent 3 weeks in Brazil as a solo female traveller, specifically in Rio, and I surprisingly felt very safe the whole time I was there. Here are all of the precautions that I took to make sure that I had a safe experience. Now, everybody says when you're in South America and Brazil to not get your phone out at all. I didn't find that to be the case. I had my phone out quite a lot to take pictures, directions, and I think the reason that I never got my phone stolen is because I always had a phone strap. You can get them on Amazon, they look like this, and it's genuinely a lifesaver. I also never experienced any pickpocketing or anything like that, and I think that's because I wore this bag the entire time. It looks kind of ugly, but it's really functional to have something that you can have on the front and close to your body. I would also never ever go out alone at night, and I wouldn't walk the streets at night even if I was with somebody else. If you're going to like the bars or a club, just get an Uber. It's because most of the stories that I heard from people getting robbed or anything happened to them in the street happened after dark. I would advise staying in any of these 3 areas, Ipanema, Copacabana, Leblon, and I think there are a few more safe areas, but personally, me, this is where I felt the most safe. The next thing is that Ubers are so affordable and so convenient in Brazil. Like, there's really no need to be walking anywhere dangerous, walking anywhere alone at night, because you can just get an Uber. Even if it's like a 5-minute walk, I would just get in an Uber. So I read loads of horror stories before coming that people would like still try and rob you through the Ubers. I personally never experienced anything like that, and some of my Uber drivers even had the windows down. Again, it was absolutely fine. Next thing is Apple Pay. You can pay Apple Pay for pretty much everything in Brazil. There's really no need to be taking your bank card out with you. The one thing I would be cautious with paying on Apple Pay is the beach vendors. This is because I've heard that they can overcharge you by putting in a different amount, but I always just asked to see their card machine before I was paying, or I would just pay that in cash. Another tip that I've heard is never ever wear gold jewelry. That's probably a smart idea. One person I met did have their gold chain robbed off them in broad daylight. I was walking around with like fake gold jewelry like this, and nobody ever tried to snatch mine off me. And the last tip is you don't have to completely avoid the favelas. I personally never did a favela tour, but there are favelas like Vidigal and Roshina. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. You can visit for things like going into restaurants, going for beauty treatments, or for example, there's a hike in Vidigal, you have to go through the favela. Again, that was absolutely fine. I remember being so scared before I went on my trip to Brazil, but all in all, I think if you take precautions, if you're sensible, if you stick to tourist areas, you can have a very, very safe and enjoyable trip.